The Northtown News Magazine is brought to you in part by the Chicago Police Memorial Fund, helping the families of slain and seriously injured officers.
Hi, I'm Marty Levinson. Welcome to the Northtown News Magazine.
Hello, my name is Marty Levinson, and welcome to the Northtown News Magazine.
Come on, baby, don't you wanna go? Come on, baby, don't you wanna go? Back to that lemon line.
Hi, I'm Marty Levinson. Welcome to the Northtown News Magazine show with the greatest cameraman around, Sonny Hirsch, and your host, Avi Myers.
Thank you, Marty. Avi Myers, Northtown Neighborhood News Magazine, a presentation of Sonny Hirsch and myself. Dial us up on the web, www.ntnm.org. Over 250,000 shows watched. Thank you very much. Community policing, caps24.org. We urge all of you to get involved in your community policing meetings in West Rogers Park. They are on the second Thursday of the month. You can go to caps24.org for further information. For the rest of the year, September, October, November, they'll be at the second Thursday at Warren Park at 7 o'clock. It's a combined sector meeting of basically all of West Rogers Park. Many of you know that we really try to emphasize judicial races, and even though the election is still a few months away, we are getting an early start because, you know, a judge can affect your life so much more than unimportant jobs like president or governor or things like that. And you'd be surprised. I mean, you're talking about your freedom, your house, you know, your marriage, I mean, all kinds of stuff. And, you know, we always urge people to go to the bottom of the ballot first because not enough of you vote in the first place. And then at least 20% of you don't wind up voting in the judicial races. And somebody who's actually not running for office at all, and who is not just mine, but almost everybody's favorite judge on so many levels, a really great guy, is Appellate Court Judge James Epstein. How you doing?
Fine, thanks, Avi. I appreciate your invitation to come.
First of all, thank you, and I see you're wearing the Northwestern colors as usual.
I am. I wear it on my sleeve, too.
And by the way, you were telling me you're the official scorer for the basketball team.
Well, I work at the scorer's table as a volunteer. I don't get paid for it, and I sit there next to the official scorer, now entering his 43rd year, and I work on primarily the substitutes.
Oh, okay.
But it's a lot of fun.
And you get good seats.
You hear things and see things that you can't even hear and see from the first row, which is very nice.
That is cool, definitely cool. I really enjoy basketball and college basketball in particular. I still remember seeing guys like George McGinnis over there, and I used to go to the stadium and I saw him when he was Lou Alcindor. I saw LaRue Martin take him apart, which was really a fascinating thing at the time. But we can talk about sports off the air. Let's talk about one of the things you mentioned you could talk about was how do you run a judicial campaign? I mean, it's a whole different process than running a regular campaign.
It's difficult for several reasons. One reason it's difficult is that it's a low-profile election. In a high-profile election, people are constantly given access to information about someone's record and what their positions are, and they tend to pay attention to that. In a judicial race, it's very hard to get any attention, and that's one of the reasons that being on your show is so valuable for judicial candidates, because there are very few opportunities for a judicial candidate to get their record across and who they are across. And so in judicial elections, it tends to be driven far more than we'd like to see it by perceptions of gender and race and ethnicity than it is by someone's record. The bar associations, and I'm talking not just of the Chicago Bar and the Illinois State Bar and the Chicago Council of Lawyers and the Decalogue Society, but at least 10 other bar associations spend a great deal of time and effort in investigating candidates. They look at their records, they look at their educational background, where they've served. They talk to the judges before whom these lawyers have appeared. They talk to the opponents of the lawyers.
Oh, wow.
In fact, you have to list on your application all of your opponents, and they call the opponents and find out what the opponents have to say about these people. And through all of that, they do these evaluations. And those are, by and large, very good measures of the quality of judicial candidates. And a lot of people tell me that, well, I can't find them. Well, if you go on the website for the Illinois State Bar Association or the Chicago Bar Association or the Chicago Council of Lawyers, the Decalogue Society, you can see the evaluations and you can hit print and you'll have something that you can take into the voting booth. And probably only, unfortunately, about 7 to 12% of the people actually do that. But those who do will generally make very good decisions about the people they're voting for. And as you said, it's a very important job.
Yeah, no, there's no question about it. And I'll tell you something, I really, the more I cover the judicial races, the more I understand, you know, who the bar associations are and what they're doing. And for instance, I had a candidate on, I don't see the evaluations before the election. You know, I'm interviewing people sometime months ahead. I had somebody on the air last time who actually I got along with great, that I thought was a great guy. And then I read the Bar Association's ratings talking about what a dangerous person this was, what sort of awful things he's done in trial, how he's, you know, in danger of being disbarred at the moment. And it was an eye-opener, it really was. But by the same token, too, they'll you know, when it's so thorough, I mean, it's, you know, I go to the Chicago Bar Association, I guess, is the main one that I look at. The Council of Lawyers is also very good. The Decalogue, it's interesting because some of them are based on ethnicity or whatever else. But, you know, there's such good information there, it really is. And I make it a point to actually go through it as carefully as I can.
Well, they interview, as I say, the judges and the opponents, and those are two groups that really have no axe to grind. And I always thought that the best flattery you could get as a lawyer is to have one of your former opponents refer you business. Because when you're on trial, you're obviously advocating for your client and trying to do the very best you can, but doing it ethically and honestly and with civility. And those are the traits that you look for in a judge. And if you go to the people who tried cases against them 5 years before, or 7 years, or 10 years, or even more, and they remember the opponent as a person of honor, who was very effective, but also very civil, and followed the rules of ethics, well, then you found out from a source that you wouldn't expect to bend over backwards to help someone very good things about that candidate. And that's one of the things that the bar associations do that's very helpful. I mean, lawyers volunteer hundreds of hours individually. And if you've ever looked at the applications that the judicial candidates have to file, they're so detailed. Case numbers, the judge on the case, the opponents on the case, when it was tried.
Wow.
And then they call all of those people. And unfortunately, for all the work that they put in and the good product they come up with, not enough people look at it. So I'd urge people, if they are interested in having a good judiciary, to spend a lot more time looking at those bar results. No,
it's true. And, you know, the fact of the matter is, when I do Jewish Chicago, I pour through those things. I mean, it's just essential. And, you know, unfortunately, you know, like you mentioned before, people look to ethnicity sometimes. There's an O'Brien who's a Filipino. You know, a Cohen doesn't necessarily mean a person's Jewish. And not to mention, you know, a good rated person would be nice. This is going faster than I wanted to. You know, I know you can't campaign or anything like that, but, you know, I know you want to, you know, I wanted to, is it okay to ask you about Jerry Esrick?
Well, as I told you, I am barred by the Code of Judicial Ethics from endorsing any candidate or supporting any candidate because I'm not a candidate myself, and judges have fewer rights of free speech than most other people, and I respect that and I obey that.
Yeah.
But if you wanted to ask me something about someone's background, I mean, he was my law partner,
yeah.
So I certainly know about him.
Yeah. Okay, well, I just want, and by the way, I just want to invite you on the show. And by the way, any Ninth Sub-Circuit candidate, I'm happy to get on the show. Anybody running countywide, I'm happy to get on the show. And I hear nothing but good things about him, and I know he was your former law partner, and he's somebody you've known for a long time. So at least I wanted to mention his name, but I don't want you to do anything that's
I
untoward
appreciate that.
or all. But anyway, Mickey's Hands, I got to get you back. And I should have scheduled a double segment for you because I've only got 14,000 more questions I want to talk to you about. But we're really out of time. So I want to thank you very much, Judge James Epstein, Appellate Court, and thank God you don't have to run anymore.
That is a blessing. And I do appreciate the invitation. I'm happy to come back anytime.
No, that'd be great. And we can talk some about Appellate Court also, which in and of itself is a fascinating subject.
Thanks, Avi.
Okay, thank you very much, and thank you for educating us.